Hi, welcome back. I'm Soudy Khan, Director of User Experience at Neuron. Today I'm going to talk about the 4 C's. And the 4 C's to us are a limited set of heuristics that we use. If you're not familiar with heuristics, please watch the video before this. But this limited set of heuristics is something we apply to almost every project. And then of course beyond that we create contextual heuristics to the specific project. But the 4 C's are consistent, coherent, context, and clues. And I'll explain each of those. So consistency means, in our case, using the same elements for the same purpose in the same way. So in other words, if you've got a page, for example, that has bullet points of a particular style and you're using it to talk about a particular type of text, don't switch them on the next page. If they're orange and round, don't switch them to, the finger pointing to the right or some other stylized bullet point, unless you actually are trying to say, this is different. These bullet points are unique. They're not standard, right? So you really want to have things that are consistent. Again, it's using the same elements for the same purpose in the same way. Coherent really speaks to brand. And when we talk about the definition of coherency, we're looking at united in forming a whole. So all the parts are united in forming a whole. But that really speaks to the tone and the feel being united and that it's on brand. For example, if you're using a font like Old English, that might work for Juicy Couture as a fashion brand, but it probably wouldn't work for, say, Ralph Lauren as a fashion brand. So you want to make sure that those things, the whole experience is coherent. If you have a particular style of writing, a particular tone that you're using, you want to make sure it's coherent. That if you've had 2 people author different parts of the content of your site, that the voice is the same, that it speaks in the same manner with the same tone. And that's really about the brand, right? You want to make sure that things are being coherent and loyal to the brand and speaking to the tone of the brand. The next thing is context. So often when we talk about context in the context of the user, we're talking about in the place they are, in the time, possibly the mental state or other conditions that a user is in when engaging your product or service. But when we talk about context, we're talking about context to the user, providing context to the user, letting them know where they are, what's expected of them, or what affordances they have, how long should they expect to be there, and how do they exit. A great example of this would be a checkout system. So checkout systems now on commerce sites have been around and refined. We have a good set of best practices. We let people know, this is the checkout process. You're on step 1 of 4. You're expected to enter this information here. You can get out, which is often hidden, on a little bit hidden on a checkout system, but it provides all that information. So again, where am I? What's expected of me? How long should I expect to be here? In terms of number of steps, if we can provide time, that would be good as well. And how do I exit? Providing clues is another one. And when we look at that, it's really just helpful hints or contextual help. So an example of that would be a text field with information in it. So you're reinforcing the idea. Remember, people scan things on the web. They look at things very, very quickly. So you might want to give an example. If you've got a text field for first and last name, which is a little uncommon. Most people separate first name and last name. And if you got first and last name, you might give an example of, John Williams as an example, just in gray text in there. So you're providing a bit of information to the user. Directional arrows, that let people know that you can paginate left and right, or an arrow that may show at the bottom that there's more information below the fold. Then maybe that blinks or flickers, or they sort of appear kind of last or in a delayed fashion when the page loads. And that's sort of saying, hey, I'm over here. I'm providing a clue, something that's not obvious to the user, that this can paginate, there's more information. So hopefully the use of consistency, coherency, context, and clues is something that you can use and add to your repertoire. It's been really helpful for me over the years. So thanks a lot. Take care.